What's up guys, it's Royalty Crypto here and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new paradigm of money, and that is Zcash. I'm also going to be taking a look at the overall crypto market and letting you guys know whether or not I think it's a good time to be buying or selling, and also letting you guys know what I expect out of these coins in the coming months. Also guys, this is a brand new channel, so I would greatly appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. And if any of you have any tokens that you want me to do a video review on, please drop them in the comment section. But without further ado, let's get right on into this video. So as you can see guys, we are down a little bit today. However, we are still higher than we were 2 days ago when we hit 99,000 for Bitcoin. So you do like to see that. Now, I would love to see Bitcoin hold over the $100,000 range, and I do believe that there is a good chance that we will. However, it is definitely possible that we continue down just a bit for Bitcoin. I could see Bitcoin touching around the $92,000 level. I think that that is definitely a possible scenario, but nonetheless guys, I do think that there is a lot of great opportunities in this market right now. But let's go ahead and scroll down to the 16th most valuable crypto coin in the space, and that is Zcash. So Zcash has been on an incredible run in the past 2 months, unlike basically any token in the market. I would actually go as far as saying that Zcash is currently the hottest layer 1 in the space by quite a bit, in my opinion. So as you guys can see, this coin has actually gone from about $50 to 516 in the past 2 months. So if you were accumulating down in this range, you're up a 10x on your investment, which is absolutely incredible. If any of you watching this video ended up making a 10x on your investment in Zcash, please let me know in the comment section, and congratulations, because that is awesome, especially considering the fact that the rest of the market has really been having a rough past 2 months. So as I said, yeah, Zcash is currently trading at $516, which equates to an $8.4 billion market cap, and it has a very impressive $1.5 billion in trading volume in the past 24 hours. And guys, most of the market doesn't have much trading volume going right now just because of how terrified everybody is with the current price drop. So seeing that a coin like Zcash is able to have such insane volume in times like this is undoubtedly impressive. Also guys, when you take a look at the tokenomics for this coin, it's not amazing, but it's also not that bad. As you can see, there's currently a circulating supply of 16 million and the max supply is 21 million. And when you actually do a deep dive into how the tokenomics on Zcash work, it is very similar to how it is on Bitcoin. We have the same max supply on Zcash. We have a 4-year halving cycle, and that is all positive things in my mind because we're not dealing with insane inflation like you have on a lot of other altcoins. So that is very positive. However, there is one massive downside to Zcash, or buying Zcash at these levels, and it is the fact that the fear and greed index on Zcash in particular is incredibly greedy right now. And if you guys watch my channel, you know that whenever we have this much greed on a certain coin, I never think it's a good idea to be buying. In fact, I actually think that Zcash could be seeing a significant pullback in the coming days to weeks, really. I think that it is very possible that Zcash could pull back to about the $200 range. We do have quite a bit of support there, and I'm not trying to shit on this coin whatsoever, but I do think that buying it when it has this much hype around it is not necessarily a good idea. However, if we do retrace back down to the $200 range, I'll personally be looking at accumulating this coin, especially if we can keep the hype and momentum around it. And if that is the case, when the true euphoria and true altcoin season starts for the rest of the bull market, I could potentially see this coin getting to about $100 billion market cap, which would be about $5,000 per coin for Zcash. Now, I think that that is the most optimistic scenario for this current cycle. I don't think that Zcash is going to make any kind of run like Bitcoin, of course. I think that that is a little bit of a delusional thought process when it comes to Zcash. But nonetheless, guys, I mean, even if you're buying at these levels, I still think that it is theoretically possible to get a 10x from here. But guys, just make sure that you're taking profits on the way up. It's never a good idea to, try to perfectly time the top on a token like this, because there's a very good chance that it never gets there. I mean, there's definitely a very solid chance that this coin could get to like 1,500 and top around that level. But as long as you guys are watching my videos, I will continue to give you updates on when I think it's a good time to sell on the overall market. And as I already said, I think that you should be taking profits at these levels too, especially if you're up 10x or more on Zcash. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the overall crypto market as a whole. So we are currently sitting at a 24 out of 100 on the crypto fear and greed index. Whenever we're this low into fear on this index, I think that it is a fantastic time to be buying back into altcoins. And that is what I'm personally doing. And I plan on continuing to buy into altcoins every single week on red days until this is back up into the neutral level. And I will keep you guys updated with this index in basically all of my videos, because I do think that this index really does help you take the natural emotions out of trading and do the opposite of what the overall market is doing, which most of the time will give you winning trades. And I think that buying now at a 24 is going to pay off quite nicely when we return into the greed and extreme greed levels in the coming months. All right, guys, so I wanted to take a look at some data that came out today that I thought was quite interesting. So as you can see here, we actually had the worst October layoffs data in 22 years, which is quite insane to think. So most of the actual quantitative data that the Fed looks at, we haven't been receiving because of this stupid government shutdown, which has now been going on for 37 days, I believe, which, come on, guys, this is ridiculous. We need to get this stuff worked out so that we can get back to work. I mean, it's just such a bad look for our country when our government is shut down like this. But nonetheless, I'm not trying to get into any of that in this video, but I know this might seem like incredibly bearish news. The one positive thing though, guys, is seeing this type of stuff come out is definitely going to give our Fed more confidence to go ahead and cut rates yet again. I think that it's very clear at this point that the economy is definitely struggling. So I do personally believe that the Federal Reserve is much more focused on saving the economy rather than lowering inflation by 0.5%. I think that they don't have much of a choice at this point but to cut rates. And that is starting to reflect in the prediction markets as well. As you can see, we are back up to a 72% chance that we will cut rates in December, which will be fantastic for risk on assets. And I do believe that this will continue to go higher and higher towards the 90 to 100% range as we get closer to December. You know, I do believe that a rate cut in December was priced into the market at one point. However, I don't believe that that's the case anymore, especially after this massive dip that we've seen in the past couple of weeks. So I think that there is definitely a bullish case scenario that we could potentially start to reprice this into the market in the coming weeks, especially if we continue to get subpar data on the economy. All right, guys, let's take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. As you guys can see here, we still have significantly more short traders using leverage than long traders at the moment. And that gives me a lot of confidence that it is very likely that Bitcoin will, at some point in the coming weeks, start to make a run back to the upside and liquidate these short traders. Typically, when you see so many more shorts than longs, or vice versa, the market typically likes to liquidate the more over leveraged side. So yeah, I think that it's more than likely that Bitcoin will get a run back up to about the $115,000 to $118,000 range in the coming weeks. And of course, that will depend on, you know, some important headlines that comes out of the news regarding potential rate cuts, the government reopening, quantitative easing potentially coming around the corner, and all of the above, really. But guys, as you can see, there are also some long traders down here as well. So there is undoubtedly a scenario that we could liquidate these long traders and push down towards the $95,000 range for Bitcoin. Now, if that were to happen, get ready for crypto Twitter and basically all of the YouTube comments to become incredibly bearish. And a lot of people are going to get very, very scared if this move does happen. But guys, it's really not the end of the world if it does. And I believe that a move down to 95,000 is just going to give the bears more confidence that the price is going to dip and even more short trades will be opened. So worst case scenario, guys, if we do dip down to 95,000 in the short term, I think that it's just going to add more fuel to the fire whenever we do finally get that short squeeze that I know will be coming around the corner. All right, guys, let's briefly take a look at Bitcoin. So right now we're looking at the 5-year chart on Bitcoin. And as you can see, we are maintaining this uptrend that we've been maintaining since about July of 2023. So again, we have more room to fall on Bitcoin and still potentially maintain this upwards trend. So it is definitely possible, you know, that we could retest this trend line, which is sitting about around $91,000 to $92,000, which makes a lot of sense from a fundamental standpoint. And as long as we can stay above this trend line, I still believe that we are in the bull market for Bitcoin and crypto. If we drop below this trend line here, I could definitely see a scenario where Bitcoin could drop to $70,000 to $50,000. I think that that is definitely in the realm of possibilities. However, guys, I am still not convinced that that will happen, and I think that it is still very unlikely just because of the fact that the macro is looking fantastic in many ways, and we have quantitative easing coming and so many other bullish things that I talk about in every single one of my videos. So guys, now is not the time to be fearful. In my opinion, it is actually the time to be greedy. And I am actually taking some of the biggest bets that I've taken in the crypto space in quite some time. Really since back in April of this year when we had the immense fear caused by the tariff situation. So yeah, obviously not financial advice, but I do believe that the risk to reward to buying right here is looking quite nice. But alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you found some valuable information in it, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.